Okay, today we're going to study SD 3.2 bracket 6. So this is an embedded sutta. Actually, it's the last sutta in this chapter, 3.2. Chaka Migasala Sutta. The sixth discourse on Migasala. Migasala is the name of an upasika, a lay follower. A 6.44. Now this sutta is quite difficult, in the sense that we're looking at the Buddha as being very strict. We can ask ourselves this very interesting question: does the Buddha ever get angry? The possible answer is yes. But then what do we mean by the Buddha being angry? Because being angry and being hateful are quite different things. I mean, our parents are very loving, but they also get angry sometimes. They scold us, or we scold our children. But we do not really want them to get into any harm. All this is done out of love. So we see the Buddha in this way also. If the situation is bad, he will stress it by not mincing his words. Okay? I mean, if you imagine the Buddha all the time talking in all the time in a nice way, even when something is wrong, he still talk as if nothing is wrong, then, we feel rather strange about it. But of course, these are very rare. Only when the situation is really bad, he would kind of make the point, if you like. There are hardly half a dozen suttas where you see the Buddha making a very strong point. There was one case called the Chatuma Sutta, where there's a group of young monks, new monks. They are coming to see the Buddha for the first time, and they're all very excited and happy. And they were led by Sariputta, by the way. Sariputta is a very tolerant teacher. So these young monks were kind of very chatty, very happy. And I don't know how many, there were quite a lot of monks, maybe 500 I think. So if 500 were all chatty and talking, you can hear quite loud. So the Buddha heard this noise, so he asked Ananda, he said, "What's that? It sounds like a fish market." So he imagined his monks are coming to see him, But he told the monks, he said, "Oh, you all are very noisy. It's like a fish market. You can't see me. Just go away." So he dismissed them, actually, So everybody got rather worried, And the story went that even Mahabrahma himself came down and beseeched the Buddha and said, "Oh, you've got to forgive these monks. They're very young, They're like young baby cows, like calves, They need a mother. Without a mother, then they won't be nurtured. They won't grow healthy and big." And the Sakyas also came to beseech the Buddha to forgive the monks. Of course, the Buddha, in the end, says yes. So all this is part of you can call it a charade if you like, but it is a skillful means. So the monks came back, and then Buddha taught them the Dhamma. In fact, they all became arahats very soon, in due course after that. So we see all this kind of almost human character of the Buddha. If something is difficult like this, it must be true, because the monks are not likely to record all these stories, which would otherwise reflect quite badly on the Buddha. So it shows that the Buddha means business when he teaches Dhamma, in other words. So sometimes he will say something quite strongly, not with hate, but to stress the point. In fact, this sutta is very interesting. This sutta, the key idea is not to judge people. Sometimes, we have teachers, we all like teachers, very nice, smiling, everything all right, When you're in trouble also, everything is all right. Then you start feeling a bit strange about it. But there are some teachers if you do wrong, they were very stern with you. They said, no, this is wrong. And then they will correct you. They don't hate you, but they're stern. Wrong is wrong, right is right. They're kind, but they don't spoil you. But you know they are good teachers. The Buddha is like that, remember. So this sutta tells us, don't judge people just because they sometimes get angry or they appear to be unfriendly. There are reasons for this. Because if you look at them, you notice they're not doing anything bad. It's just that there is something going on and you got to find out what it is. So this is the background. You know? This is a young lady, Migasala. She's only an upasika, so she's not a disciple, not a saint yet. She's just a young person. Both the father and the uncle have passed away. All right? They're brothers. They have passed away. One is a celibate, you know? And his name is Isidatta. Is that correct?
The father is
Purana. Sorry, Purana. The father's name is Purana, and the father lives a holy life. In other words, doesn't have sex. He's living a holy life, keeps the precepts. He passes away and is reborn as a once returner in Tusita heaven. Then his uncle, Purana's brother, the uncle Isidatta, who is not celibate. In other words, he's happily married, but he's loyal to his wife. And he also died and is reborn in the same heaven also as a once returner. Okay. Now let me explain what a once returner is. No? Now, in Buddhism we say there is the path. Okay, path, that means you walk on it towards nirvana. You're going to be awakened. You know, the first stage is called stream winner or stream entrant. In other words, you enter the stream. The stream here flows upwards. The water flows down, but you go into this boat and then you paddle. Of course, today we can use motor. No? So the boat goes against the current, it goes upstream to the ancient city called Nirvana. So going upstream means going against the currents of the world, going against worldliness. We are at peace with ourselves. Okay. So our purpose as a Buddhist is to become stream winner. In other words, we start by reflecting on impermanence. Okay, everything is impermanent. Everything is impermanent. We reflect that way. So no matter what happens, we are not disappointed. We have no fear. We feel peaceful. Something sad happens, we are peaceful. Something happy happens, we are peaceful. But we are happy. We are radiant. Okay. So stream winner is someone who understands the nature of impermanence. That's the first stage. Okay. A stream winner has got 7 more lives to go at the most. Okay. Happy lives. If the stream winner practices well in this life, then next life also can become what's called a once returner. So once returner means they will have 1 more life. Because of their karma, they will be reborn here again 1 more time. That's why they're called once returner. Okay? So the 2 brothers are once returner. In other words, when they die in the heaven, to the heaven, they will be reborn 1 more time here in this world, and then they will pass away like the Buddha. They'll be no more reborn. So this is the beginning of the story. Okay. All right. Let's look at this sutta now. Section 1. At one time, the Blessed One was staying in Anathapindika's park in Jeta's Grove near Savatthi. Okay, this is a very famous place, a monastery. Now remember, when we say monastery here in the Buddha's time, they're not like the big temples you see today. You know, they are forest monastery. Let me tell you a very interesting story I've told many times before. Once, this is a real story, there was this group of Singaporeans, I think. They wanted to visit the Wat Pa Nanacha, that is the International Forest Monastery in northwest Thailand, Achan Chah's forest monastery. So they were traveling the bus, they went up north many hours, and finally they stopped. And then the people asked, why the bus stopped? Say, well, we reached already. And everyone looked around and said, all trees, you know. They said, how come reached already? They said, where's the monastery? And then the driver said, this is the monastery. All trees, forest. But then when they looked carefully among the trees, they could see little huts here and there. The huts are scattered about, so it's very peaceful. And they're all built on stilts for safety. All right? And then when they look a bit more carefully, they can see somewhere in the center there is this bigger building for the monks to gather. All right? So that's the forest monastery. So the Buddha lived in this kind of monastery. So sometimes I translate it as monastery park or park monastery. So there are lots of trees and there are little huts. The biggest one is for the Buddha, right? So the monks will be sitting under trees meditating, and then there's a kind of open space. Even open space, there are lots of trees. Yeah? So even daytime you can sit there, there's a nice shade, so the sun won't shine hot on you. And it's very peaceful. No crickets, you know. I remember when I went to Perth, the retreat center there, the night was so peaceful. And that was quite surprising to me, because if we are in the Malaysian jungle, you hear the crickets are very loud, you know. But this retreat center in Perth, there were no sounds of crickets at night. It's very peaceful. So that is why the Buddha doesn't need all this microphone, you know, when he talks. Everyone can hear the Buddha, and the Buddha has got this kind of natural, loud and clear voice. People can hear him. I don't know how that can happen, because you'll get like, there are already 500 monks there, and you got many more hundreds of nuns and lay people, laymen, lay women, maybe a couple of thousand, you know. But they can hear the Buddha. Okay? So this is the forest monastery. Yeah? Right, so the Buddha was living there. So this is the background, so we know where the Buddha is living. But the story starts elsewhere. 1.2. Then, early in the morning, the Venerable Ananda, having dressed himself, taking rope and bow, approached the house of the female lay disciple, Migasala, and sat down on a prepared seat. So this lady is offering food to Ananda. Then the female lady disciple Migasala, having approached the Venerable Ananda, saluted him and sat down at one side. Sitting down at one side, the female follower Migasala said this to the Venerable Ananda. Okay, so this is the question. Now we come to the thesis of the story. In other words, the beginning of the story. How, Venerable Ananda, should this teaching given by the Blessed One be understood? That is, regarding the fact that one who lives the holy life of celibacy and one who does not will both meet the same destiny in the next life, right? So it says, if one is lives like a monk, layman, and one's married, right, and loyal to the wife, will both of them have the same result, be born in the same place or become the same kind of saint? And it's not a very good question, you know, right? But we don't know until later, right? Then she further asked, Bhante, okay, this is why she asked the question. She says, Bhante, my father, Purana, lived a holy life, living apart, that means live alone, abstaining from sexual intercourse, the way of the village. So the father is a layman, he lives like a monk. When he died, the Blessed One declared that he arose as a once returner, a being in Tusita heaven. It's one of the higher heavens, where the future Buddha is, by the way. So this is the father. Purana has passed away, is reborn as a once returner into Sutta heaven. Bhante, my beloved paternal uncle on the brother's side, father's side rather, okay, father's brother, Isidatta, is not celibate, contented with his wife, but when he died, the Blessed One declared that he too arose as a stream winner, a being into Sutta heaven. How, Venerable Ananda, should this teaching given by the Blessed One be understood? That is, regarding the fact that one who lives the holy life and one who does not will both meet the same destiny in the next life. Okay. Now this actually is not a question, it's a complaint actually. He said that's not fair. Of course the sutta doesn't dramatize it that way, but from the way it's written, okay, the style here. Right? So Ananda doesn't answer this question because this is a difficult question. All right. In a way, the lay follower Migasala was disappointed also. So the storyteller tells us, Ananda replies, that's the way it is, sister, as declared by the Blessed One. So the Ananda just said, well, that's the way the Buddha has spoken, and then he went away. Okay, so this is the first part. Now because Ananda also not sure how to answer this, so the next part is very easy. I'm not going to read the whole thing because a lot of things are repeated here. Ananda goes to the Buddha and then bows down to him and sat down at one side and then told the whole story again to the Buddha. I said, well, there's this lay follower, and she said the uncle who is celibate, living the holy life, passed away, became a once returner, reborn to Sutta. The father is a celibate, lived like a monk. He also became a once returner and died and is reborn in the same heaven. So she's not happy. So how can that be? Okay, right. So that's the question Ananda put before the Buddha. Okay, so what is the Buddha's answer? 4.9. Okay, this is the point I'm trying to tell you. Okay, the Buddha gives quite a strong answer here. The Buddha says, but who, Ananda, is the female lay follower Migasala? An immature, inexperienced young woman with only a young woman's wisdom to have the knowledge of the diversity of individuals. All right? Now remember, this is a sutta. It's a literary document. It's like a story, like Shakespeare's work. The storyteller has to impress on us the tone, that this is a serious matter. The Buddha is very serious. How does he present this? So here the Buddha says it as it is. Another thing you must understand is the women in the Buddha's time, they are not so educated like the men. Very rare. Now last week's lesson, yes, there was one special case. This Brahmini woman was a teacher. Very rare. No? But this girl, she's very young. That's another thing. She was very young. So basically the Buddha is saying, okay, you have this young girl. She doesn't know what's going on. She should have asked the question properly rather than complain, in other words. Right? So now remember, the Buddha is talking to Ananda. This is another thing you must bear in mind. The Buddha is not talking to the girl herself. The Buddha is only telling Ananda that the question is wrongly put. Okay. So the Buddha says, well, you have this immature young girl, doesn't know how to ask questions. Okay. There are occasions when even adults ask the Buddha the same question over and over. The third time the Buddha doesn't answer. He will keep quiet. Okay. Now this is allowed in the Buddha's time. This is a tradition. The teacher will remain silent. But then there is Ananda. Ananda plays this middleman role, the PR role. Yeah, then Ananda will explain to the questioner and says, oh, okay, you know, the Blessed One is silent because you asked the same question 4 times already. So it's the same answer, okay? And then the person will understand, all right? So you have this kind of, it's very much like a professor in a university. There is a protocol, so that there's respect for the teaching, and nothing frivolous happens. All right, so this is the background you have to understand. But the real teaching is coming. All right, so now the Buddha gives the answer. 4.10. Ananda, says the Buddha, there are these 6 kinds of person existing in the world. There are sets of pairs, 3 pairs actually. So let's look at the first one. Okay. Now here again the pattern is such that you will see 1 and 2, and then there's a refrain. In other words, the whole cycle is repeated. You see a lot of repetition because this is a oral tradition, right? So when I teach you, since you got the notes, I will summarize for you. All right, so the Buddha said there are these 6 kinds of persons. So what the Buddha is going to do now, he says that it's very hard to know people. Don't judge people because you don't meditate, you do not know how to judge people. Don't judge people, all right? Section 5. This is the first kind of individual. Says, okay, here Ananda, a certain person is gentle, a joy to associate with, the delight of fellow brahmacharis. Brahmacharis are the monks. On account of having the same mind. So this person is very gentle, very popular. However, he is not shaped by what he has heard. In other words, he doesn't learn anything, although he listens to the Dhamma. He is not shaped by great learning, right? So he doesn't have much knowledge. That he has not penetrated with right view, that he did not reflect on the teaching, right? And he does not attain temporary freedom. Now when you meditate properly, you're at peace with yourself. That's called temporary freedom. Especially when you go into deep jhana, you feel very peaceful. That's called temporary freedom. Full freedom, of course, is nirvana. But when you meditate well, you're at peace with yourself. That's called samaya vimutti. In other words, temporary freedom, like temporary awakening, if you like. All right. So notice what the Buddha is saying. Yeah, this person looks very gentle, very kind, very popular, but no attainment. Okay. When the body has broken up after death, he undergoes decline, suffering. Not excellence. Doesn't go up, goes down. Yeah? He goes to the way of decline, not the way of excellence. So there you are. This person may look very kind in life, very popular, but then actually he will go down because he didn't have any training in the Dhamma. All right. So this is the first kind of person. Now the second kind of person, 5.4. Now here too, Ananda, a certain person is gentle, just like the first person. And is very friendly, very popular. Okay, I'm summarizing everything. But, however, he's shaped by what he has heard. So whatever he learned, like now, study sutta, listen very carefully. And then he's shaped by great learning. He goes deeper, do research, study some more. And he's well understood with right views. So make sure everything is properly understood, and so on. And he gains temporary freedom. He feels joyful, feels at peace, meditates. When his body has broken up, after death, he undergoes excellence, not decline. He goes the way of excellence, not the way of decline. So this person will progress, be reborn happily. All right. So there you have this person, same character. I mean, more or less parallel character, if you like. Gentle, friendly, popular. But one, no learning, did not trouble to build up his Dhamma life, practice peace of mind, but the other one does. So although they have the same character, very friendly, very popular, but their progress is different. All right? So this is the first pair. And then the Buddha repeats everything I said in the next part. Okay, so I don't have to read that. Except for 5.10, the Buddha explained why. Okay, so this person Ananda is more excellent. This is the good person, right? More exalted than the previous person. What is the reason for this? Because Ananda, the Dharma stream carries the person along. Who would know this but the Tathagata? Says, so the Buddha knows this. Ordinary person will not notice this. Ordinary person will say, how come this person is good, he looks good, the other person also looks good, how come both different kind of progress, right? Because we can't read the person's mind. We cannot see below the surface. But the Buddha can. The Arahats can. Here the Buddha says it is the Dharma stream. One meaning of Dharma stream means the practitioner has attained stream winning, flows with the Dharma, follows the Dharma. So because attained stream winning, or because he's following the flow of the Dharma, meditate, peace of mind, joyful, that kind of habit will bring peace when the last moment comes and the person will be reborn happily. Okay? So this is the happy, friendly, popular person. Alright? Now you have the second kind of person. It's get more interesting now. Section 6. Here too, Ananda, a certain person is able to manage his anger and conceit. But states of greed arise in him occasionally. All right. So this person doesn't show anger. He can control. He has anger, but he can control it. And he is also sometimes measure people. Say, "Oh, I'm better than this person. This person, is cleverer than me. Or this person is as good as me." Something like that. He goes around measuring people. Measuring people is a bad habit. Okay, but he can control this also. So he doesn't have. He controls his anger. He controls his pride, arrogance, conceit. All right. But sometimes he shows greed, okay, desire, occasionally. So basically, this is a good person, all right? However, he is not shaped by what he has heard. So doesn't listen to the Dharma, or even if listen also, doesn't pay attention, nothing happens to him, doesn't reflect on it, and no change, all right? So he doesn't attain any temporary release, no peace of mind. So when he passes away in the end, this is a long-term case, then his rebirth also is not happy, suffering state. Now you have the other person in this pair, section 7. Now here too, Ananda, for a person, this person is able to manage his anger and conceit, but states of greed arise in him occasionally. So just like the previous person, he's able to control anger, arrogance and pride, but sometimes show a bit of greed. But this person listens to the Dharma, practices, meditates, feels peaceful, joyful. So despite his greed, when he dies, he's reborn in a happy state. Okay? So this is a second pair. And then why is this so? Because he flows with the Dhamma, because he follows the Dhamma, and he goes on to attain stream winning. So here you can see, we don't wait until we are good to practice stream winning. It's too late, then you'll never reach the stage. You got to start where you are. See, good or bad, you start there. It's just like you say, "Oh no, I can't see a doctor until I get well." I mean, if you're sick, you see a doctor, right? You don't say until I get well, right? So you become a stream winner anytime. You aspire, rather, to be a stream winner anytime. Because when you aspire to be a stream winner, in other words, you're telling yourself, "I'm going to upgrade my practice. I'm going to be more serious about my practice. I'm going to reflect on impermanence more often like that. Right? All right, so now we have the last pair. Section 8. Here too, Ananda, a certain person is able to manage his anger and conceit, but verbal exchanges arise for him occasionally. Alright, so this person is able to hold back anger, hold back his pride and arrogance, but sometimes quarrel with people a bit, argue and so on, a bit. Né? But he doesn't listen to the Dharma, doesn't follow the teaching, doesn't meditate, doesn't reflect on impermanence. So when he passes away, he's reborn in a not so happy state. Alright? So this is the first kind of person, the third pair. Eh? And the second of the pair rather, same. This person also can manage his anger and pride. Sometimes he quarrels a bit, verbal exchange. So this person a bit argumentative, right? But he listens to the Dharma, he practices, he feels happy, he follows the flow of the Dhamma despite his weakness. So you have this person with a bit of bad habit, but it's not bad enough, so to speak. So this person will be, when at the end of his life, when he passes away, he will be reborn in a happy state. Right, so these are the three pairs of persons. So the Buddha says, well, there you are. You cannot judge people just like that. It's a bit complicated, the Buddha said. You'll be able to read people's mind, you yourself have some level of practice. Only the Arahats and the Buddhas are able to correctly diagnose, profile people. What's interesting is, this is what's so special about the Buddha. He's able to know what kind of character we have. Even Sariputta is an Arahat. Sometimes he does not give the right meditation practice to this meditator, to the monk. There was a story about this goldsmith's son once. He thought, oh, goldsmith's son does all the do with gold and beauty, so give him some frightening meditation like death and so on, but it didn't work, so this poor young monk said very hard to meditate. So he went to see the Buddha, and the Buddha looked at him and gave him a very fine meditation. The Buddha said, this young man, he's a goldsmith's son, and he works with fine ornaments. So he's used to all this beauty and fine work, So he needs a very fine meditation. See, so only the Buddha can read this person's character, give a diagnosis. It's like you can say the Arahats are GPs, general practitioners, they're doctors, they're all qualified. But the Buddha is the specialist. Okay, he will tell you exactly what's right, what's wrong. Okay, all right. So the Buddha is like that. So here in the last part, the Buddha says, okay, so again, Migasala, she's still very young, she doesn't know what's going on. And then now we come to the last part, section 12. The Buddha says, whatever moral virtue, Ananda, that Purana possesses, that moral virtue Isiddhata possesses not. He doesn't have that moral virtue. So in other words, in the case of Purana, his moral virtue is very good. Okay? He's celibate. Okay? He lives like a monk, although he's a layman. So here Purana would not know of Isiddhata's destiny, so because he's a layman. See? It's not an Arahat. Whatever wisdom, Ananda, that Isiddhata possesses, that wisdom Purana possesses not. Okay? Or it should be possesses. No? Here, Isiddhata would not know of Purana's destiny, right? So here, the Buddha is telling us that the father, his faculty, his strength is moral virtue. Whereas in the case of the uncle, the strength, wisdom. So they both have their good qualities, but different. But because they practice is a very similar thing. They are reborn in the same way, right? So the Buddha says, thus, Ananda, both these persons are weak, lowly or weak in one aspect, one factor. So in the case of the first person, that is Purana, he is weak in wisdom. The second person is weak in moral virtue, but the other person is strong in it. But yet, although there's this difference here, they are both reborn in the same place. So it's not easy to predict what will the rebirth of people. You see, well, they may appear unfriendly or angry or greedy or whatever, but we don't really know their mind. So basically, it is a very good lesson for us, in other words, not to judge people, to learn to go along with people, to accept them. Because when you accept them, then they're more likely to change, in other words. It's easier for them to change. We could be that kind of person, you see. I mean, we're not in total control ourselves, right? Until we practice the Dharma, all right? So this is the lesson, yeah? All right, so the sutta finishes here. Okay. So, any questions? If not, we stop here for a while. We have a short break. Okay?
Which is more important? Moral virtue or wisdom? This is something that one has got moral virtue, the other has wisdom.
Well, it depends on the person. See? So they are relatives. See? Let's say if the person is wise, then he needs moral virtue more.
But if a person is wise, he will know what is good, what is bad, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome.
He knows, in theory.
Yeah.
In theory. Yeah. And then also, he might be able to rationalize. That's another problem. You say, oh, it's okay, I can break this precept because I don't do it often, whatever, you know. So there is a shadow of wisdom too. Basically, wisdom means he understands the teaching, he understands impermanence, but he has not attained the level yet. So he needs the precepts to restrain body and speech. He may be wise, but maybe body and speech are not restrained. Whereas you got the other person who is restrained body and speech, moral virtue is good, but lacking wisdom. So he doesn't understand impermanence, a lot of fear, ignorance. So this is where the faculties need to be balanced. Wisdom must be balanced with faith, faith with wisdom, meditation, concentration with effort, effort with concentration. And in the middle of it is mindfulness. Mindfulness will balance up these other four faculties. Right? So slowly we build this up, in other words. So that's why, in other words, if you have faith, your sutta study is not good, all the more you need to build up the wisdom through sutta study. That's the meaning. So when your wisdom is built up, then you have no fear. You are not afraid, oh, I've done this wrong, I've done that wrong. So you gain more confidence. It's like knowing what to do, basically. It's like you go shopping, you have a lot of money, so you just pay whatever you like. People charge anything, you just pay because you got a lot of money. But then after a while you find, oops, my money is going out so fast, So you got to learn, okay, what are the prices, how you can bargain, where things are cheaper, and how to buy things cheaply, all right, and so on. So that's wisdom. You know how to shop. Just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean, you should shop freely, because there are limits to wealth, right? So the wisdom is knowing how to shop, where to shop, what to buy, what not to buy, how to buy. So we've got to balance up. These are called faculties, our personal character. Okay? We have a few more minutes. Let's finish off with a short teaching. I want to talk to you a bit about stream winning. Okay, stream winning. Stream winning is the first stage of sainthood. We call it sainthood. It means the path. Now, although we call ourselves Buddhists, but we are still not on the path yet. We are approaching the path. It's like you have come to this big, nice temple or big, nice university, and you are standing at the entrance, the gate. They say, oh, so this very nice, beautiful place. So just standing, admiring it. Still not gone inside yet. So we need to make the effort, make the move, go inside, register ourselves, so to speak. All right? So that's called stream winning, the first stage. How do we start to take the first step on the path? How do we really get to start so that we don't get caught in samsara, the cycle of rebirth? No? You see, the thing is this, you can take refuge, you can even study suttas, but if you don't do the reflection and impermanence, when the last moment comes, we can never know what's going to happen. All right? Like the previous teaching goes, the last moment is like when you're driving, you brake, the car still moves a bit, the momentum. It's the karmic momentum. Your karma will push you a bit more. So how far you go, we don't know. No one knows. Yeah? So we have to prepare ourselves. So I noticed from the sutta, the teaching is very simple. You just reflect on impermanence. That's the simplest practice. Anyone can do this. Almost anyone, anyway. It's called anicca sanya. Whatever you do, reflect on impermanence. So if you have something you bought very expensive, it breaks, okay, it's broken. That's the way things are. You don't get upset, right? If you pay for something with a lot of money, it should not make you upset, right? It's broken, fine, you can just get a new one. And if someone falls sick or you get sick, you also know, say, oh, this is not permanent, it will go away. So something bad, you say it's impermanent. Something good, also impermanent. Right? If something is bad, you say it's impermanent, you know it will go away. So you are not troubled by it. Something good, you say impermanent, you treasure it more. Because you know it's not going to last. And this impermanence also reminds us that people we love, people we care for are very important. Because nobody lasts forever. Right? Nowadays, young people like to complain about their parents, say, oh, my father like this, my mother like that. I say, you don't worry. They all got chef life. I mean, you complain now, before you know it, they're gone, and then you start regretting, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Now it's your chance to do it, I say. Right? So, impermanence makes us value life more, value people that we care for more, right? So that's why it's a very wonderful reflection here. It's not negative at all. It is facing true reality. And if you do this kind of practice, then you have no fear of losing anything. If your close friend, someone you love, pass away, you say, well, that's a fact. We all know that. Then you're very calm. So like in Thailand, Buddhist country, when someone passes away, there is joy. It's not that they are happy someone has died. It's rather, every occasion they show happiness because they are Buddhists. When someone has died, they make the whole village happy. They show movies, those expensive movies which the poor cannot have a chance to see. They will play a whole night through. So that people will stay there and look after the coffin also. Instead of Chinese like to do gambling, right? Right there they give this movie, people watch the show and they're all very happy.
Is it for rich people who pass away? What about
anyone can.
Poor
yeah,
pass away?
They can pull together some funds. Now there are other ways, they can also, they can do different things, right? I mean, I'm saying showing movies is one of the ways they do it, all right? And then you see flowers everywhere, very beautiful, lots of flowers. And the predominant color is red and gold, not black. You see? So this is something we can learn. Even like here, if someone passes away, lay people can perform the ceremonies. In fact, the original, I wouldn't say undertakers, the people who perform last rites were lay people. The monks never do that. You know, when the Buddha was passing away, Ananda was so worried. Ananda asked the Buddha, what do we do, when you pass away? What kind of ceremony, what kind of rituals are we going to do? The Buddha said, don't worry about all that. It's not your job. It's not the monk's job. Last rites, funerals is not the monk's job. He said there are wise lay people who can do this. The lay people will perform all these rituals. So the monks sit quietly, observe. All right? But today it's the opposite. So my point is this, we begin to see the monks a wrong role already. If someone has passed away, someone you love passed away, and you love them, it is your duty and you feel so good to send them off, so to speak. And we say that if actually we say there's no such thing as a dead person in Buddhism, because the person is either reborn somewhere already. Let's say if it's reborn in the higher heavens, it doesn't matter. But we just do because we don't know, we perform the rituals. So if they're born as a deva, they can see you, they say, oh, look at all my relatives, they remember me, they're very happy, they bless you, it's wonderful. Now, what we are concerned is maybe they're still like attached to the world, so their consciousness is still here, like a dream state, their intermediate state, we say. So they're floating around. They can't talk to you because no more voice, no language. I mean, they can't talk to you because they're not humans anymore. But they're still stuck here.
How long? Or how long?
Hard to say. Can be very short, can be very long, depending on their attachment. So if they practice impermanence, easy. They let go, they're reborn happily. But this way we can help them. So we get together when someone, it can be a friend, not only a relative. Okay, we have the idea that, you only pray for relatives. The sutta says anyone. Because according to Buddhism, we are reborn so many times, all of us are connected somehow. So even when a friend passes away, we get together. Very important is loving kindness. You feel joyful. You get together, you remember all the good things this person has done, all the happy things. You get together, this wonderful energy. I mean, imagine if you are the one floating around and say, wow, look at my friends, they're all feeling happy and good like the old times. You also feel good. And then you do the meditation, metta, breath, you do the chanting, all done happily. This person feels happy, and the suffering state, the darkness are gone. The person is reborn, is free from this attached state. Is no more attached to this world, no more attached to the old place, no more attached to the past. You can let go and reborn, happily reborn. That's why we need to perform the ceremonies ourselves. Sometimes rich people, someone passed away, they pay all this expensive priests to chant, but they don't know what the chanting is, they're not happy with it, they're wondering, when is this chanting going to finish, faster, better, So they're not even present, they're not happy, Right? So if you're not happy, the feeling is wrong, Right? So imagine if the dead person can see all this, he won't be happy also. Right? So the proper Buddhist way is, you love someone, you do it yourself. It's just like when we are sick, we want our loved ones to be near us. We don't want to be with strangers, right? So a lot of old people, they say, I want to stay at home, right? Because we want to be among loved ones and so on. So that's why it's very important to do all this by ourselves for our loved ones, not to pay others to do it. That's the meaning. You can't pay others to love you. You show this act of love. When the baby is born, we all gather together for our relatives, we welcome the baby, right? So when we live, we also want all these people around us, and we don't say goodbye, we say farewell. Farewell, that means you move happily, all right? So this is a beautiful Buddhist way of saying it, yeah? Okay? So all right, I think I will end here. All right, let us close with a short reflection. Whenever we come together like this, it's a wonderful opportunity for us to do something good together. Whenever we do something good together, that means this goodness will keep us together. And the more this goodness keeps us together, the easier it is to help each other do good. It's like the story of the 33 friends who clear the ground, dig wells, flatten the roads. They do it for the goodness of other people, so that the travelers will not suffer. They have a place to rest. And when they passed away, they all were reborn in the heaven of the 33. They became the 33 gods. Lord Sakra as the leader. So when we live and work together, doing good, this is a wonderful way to assure that this life will be a very happy and good one. And also we are more empowered to help others. Reflecting in this way is wonderful good karma. By the power of this karma, may we be well and happy. May we be blessed with wisdom and courage, at least to aspire to stream winning in this life itself. May our loved ones to be well and happy. And may they to see the true teaching in this life. And may all those who are practicing the Dharma seriously and properly to be well and happy and enjoy their fruits in this life too. And today let us send our loving kindness to Sister Tan Yiling's auntie, Madam Tam Kao, who is recovering. May she speedily recover, be well. May her mind be at peace. May she be blessed with good health as soon as possible. And finally, by the power of the three jewels, may those who have lost their way, teaching the wrong things, may they to see the right path in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.